Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to the channel, hope you're all okay. I wanted to do something a little different today. As many of you seen from the title and thumbnail, this involves two highly rated and very popular TV shows, which are Brooklyn Nine-Nine and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Now the first thing I'm going to point out is that for the most part these shows have a very different fan base in terms of what people are looking for in a show. Brooklyn Nine-Nine focuses more on the wholesome comedic side of things while simultaneously adding light social commentary on issues that are very present in today's society, while sending very positive messages on how one would deal with these difficult issues. It's Always Sunny, on the other hand, tends to take those real world issues and give us some of the most brutal, controversial and just downright absurd moments ever to grace television. And of course, it makes fun of those issues. The characters of Brooklyn Nine-Nine are a diverse group of colleagues which include two black men, two Latino women, a gay man and a bisexual woman who are all working for the NYPD under their newly appointed captain, Raymond Holt. On the other side, in It's Always Sunny, we have Charlie, Dennis, Mac and Dee, who are an all-white gang of friends who own a bar and are later joined by Frank, who's supposed to be Dee and Dennis's dad, but actually isn't, and was tricked into raising Dennis and Dee by his
horrible whore wife.
A fact that we find out not too long after Frank's introduction. So these two shows should have nothing to do with each other, right? Wrong. These two shows have a lot more in common than you might think. Some of it is of course very explainable, such as a couple of actors who are in both shows, but that's just nothing out of the ordinary, right? Wrong again. And in Andrew Friedman's case, it's a little more than ordinary, because not only is he in both shows, he plays a lawyer in both of these. Completely different characters, but same job. Let's just say it's a coincidence and move on to Artemis Pebdani, who plays Carlene, the psychic shoe salesman who appears in an early episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine as Gina's friend, who's there to tell Charles that he'll never get together with Rosa. Of course, Carlene is a swindler who uses very basic and obvious statements under Gina's orders to scare Charles from pursuing his love interest. At the time, it's Rosa. Carlene's role is very small but almost identical to that of Artemis's in Sunny. In the Wade Boggs reboot episode of It's Always Sunny, where Artemis Pebdani's character, who's also named Artemis, is a swindler who's using fake crystals, herbs and remedies and visions to trick lonely women out of their money on an all-women's flight. So that's two characters who share similar, if not identical, characteristics across two very different shows. Surely we can't have a third, right? Oh, but we do. Because in Season 4, Episode 10 of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, we find yet another recurring It's Always Sunny character locked in the holding cell of the precinct. We see Patrick, who is a drunk and was arrested for public urination and intoxication. Traits that definitely aren't unfamiliar to his other character in It's Always Sunny, Bill Ponderosa, who is very simply put by his wife as
Bill's a lying, cheating, drug addict piece of garbage, and we all hope he dies.
So it wouldn't be too crazy for me to say that Bill and Patrick could literally just be the same person, right? The man his wife just describes fits Patrick's character perfectly in my opinion. Now, characters with the same traits across both shows make for pretty big coincidences, but we can also throw in a couple of side characters played by the same actors, but unlike the others I just mentioned, these guys don't have much in common to their characters across the other show. Firstly, we have the autopsy surgeon in an early episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, who's played by Mary Elizabeth Ellis, who also plays the waitress in It's Always Sunny, the main love interest of the character Charlie, who's played by Charlie Day and is the real-life husband of Mary Elizabeth Ellis, his on-screen love interest. And lastly, we have Mary Lynn Rajskub, who plays the role of Charles's current girlfriend Genevieve, and Dee and Dennis's weird cousin in It's Always Sunny. She was very accurately named Gail the Snail for this reason.
Yeah, we throw salt on her because she was the snail.
Get it?
You throw salt on a snail and
It's supposed to shrivel.
Now, moving on. Ongoing distinct character traits can be a wonderful thing if done correctly over the course of a long airing show, And there's one trait that one character from each of these series does beautifully, and that's Mac and Charles' ability to be unconsciously sexual while in normal conversation, and specifically in the homoerotic sense for Mac because he's gay, something we have to watch unfold slowly, painfully, and very chaotically. The best example of this that I could give comes from the character Tobias from Arrested Development.
Group yet. No, I'm afraid I just blew myself.
But, unlike Tobias, as far as we know, Mac and Charlie do it completely unintentionally, and that makes it so much funnier for the scenes, and it's the reactions of the characters around them that makes these scenes so much funnier than they should be. I'm just going to leave a couple of examples for you to fully understand what I mean.
Hello, Peralta. Plus, on the ride over, he gave me a quickie. What? A quick therapy session. We talked about so much. Did you know that I have a tendency to be unconsciously sexual?
Yes.
It's a real tough nut to bust.
Oh, you're doing it again.
Oh, okay. I think I hear it.
You think you hear it?
I came up with a plan. Lay it on us, bud. It involves pulling up our bootstraps, oiling up a couple of asses, and doing a little plowing of our own. Not gay sex. Oh, okay.
Now, if you watch both of these shows for long enough and repeatedly, like me, you'll start to notice some of the more subtle similarities. The McPoyles of It's Always Sunny are a family of inbred, milk-drinking degenerates who proudly express their incestuous relationship with each other. Their family makes several appearances throughout the show, and their appearances tie into some of the more major storylines. Confused to how this links to Brooklyn Nine-Nine? Well, this is going to be a bold claim, but I think parts, not all of them, but parts of the Boyle family from Brooklyn Nine-Nine could possibly be inbred just like the McPoyles. This would explain a lot of their strange behaviour and uncomfortable togetherness that they all share on screen, in addition to the fact that they all have the same sleep apnea illness and just different illnesses. They all vacation together and in some cases live together. Now, of course, this could all be very circumstantial and just be a portrayal of a family that's just really close to each other. But there was one thing that really stuck out that made me make this claim, and it was Boyle's great-grandfather's little foot.
I can't do that. What, I'm just supposed to get rid of my great-grandfather's shoes?
Now, call me crazy, but I feel like this one tiny scene has a lot more meaning than most people think. Charles says he had a baby foot, but why? Is that a normal thing that happens sometimes? I don't think so. In fact, I think this, along with other strange facts about Boyle's family, all point to the fact that they, just like the McPoyles, have a dark family secret which isn't as openly expressed, obviously because of the type of show. And just to add the little sprinkle on the icing, it's in Always Sunny, we're introduced to Pappy McPoyle, who happens to be the patriarch of the McPoyle family. And yep, you guessed it, over in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, this aspect is once again mirrored with the mention of Nana Boyle, who is the matriarch of the Boyle clan. So how many of these coincidences do we have to get through before we realise these shows are connected in some really strange way? Now, let me introduce Rickety Cricket and Bill, two characters in Sunny and Brooklyn Nine-Nine whose one purpose is to deteriorate more so than the last time we saw them. Let's start with Cricket, introduced to us as Matthew Mara, a priest who also attended the same high school as the gang, where he was bullied for wearing leg braces that creaked when he moved, hence the name Rickety Cricket. Now, in every episode that we see Cricket, something horribly bad happens to him, which sends his life even further down a spiral which apparently has no end, because as of right now, Cricket is a homeless crack addict who sells his body for money and also has some missing organs, in addition to having burns across most of his body. So yeah, deterioration. Bill's devolution, on the other hand, isn't as slow and brilliantly written out like Cricket's. Bill is introduced in Brooklyn Nine-Nine once every season for the sole purpose of helping someone win the Halloween heist, or any other kind of heist. They have a few different of those ones now. This all seemed fine, nothing was wrong with Bill, until we learned that Bill was abandoned in a playground as a child, and that's all he knows about his childhood. Later, at some point, he became a prostitute, which is referenced many times in a comedic way until his appearance in season 6, where we learn he's been living in a shopping cart in an alley and wants to be part of the squad so he has somewhere to live. And in his latest appearance, we learned that his devolution has sped up quite a bit since his last appearance, because each time he appears in the episode with a couple of months time gap, he appears more and more miserable and unravelled than the last time, giving us the notion that his life seriously falls apart in the unseen spaces between his on-screen appearances. Now, I know it's not the squad's fault that he's become like this, but in a show that promotes justice and doing the morally right thing, that'd be hard to do, as opposed to the Sunny gang, who actively contribute to the horrors that Cricket faces every time they cross paths. So I guess the last thing I wanted to point out was that in a very early episode of It's Always Sunny, we have a scene in a police precinct, which just happens to be, yep, you guessed it, the exact same one we see in every episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is surprising because this episode of Sunny, which features the precinct, was aired in September 2005, almost 15 years ago, and the pilot episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine was brought to us 8 years later in September 2013. So surely sets have to have been updated in that 8 years, right? Apparently not, because further on in season 3 of Brooklyn Nine-Nine we see Paddy's Pub, the natural habitat of the Sunny gang, the same exact set that we see in every episode of It's Always Sunny. Now, I get a lot of shows share sets and locations and even actors with minor roles, but these two shows, there's a few coincidences too many. As someone who loves these two shows more than life itself, it's easy to see why I saw so many similarities between them. Maybe I'm just making these similarities for myself, but similarities that tie these two shows together in a way that I could never imagine. Brooklyn Nine-Nine gives us difficult real-world issues and shows us the black and white areas of them. Sunny likes to explore that grey area, you know, the things that people don't usually speak about out of fear of controversy. Because that's exactly what you're going to get with these shows. They don't shy away from these topics, and in Sunny's case, it dives headfirst into them and shows us just how bad these situations can become if they're not handled properly. Right, so that's all I have to say on this, and that's all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, leave a like. It really helps the channel out and the videos, and if you want to see more of these videos along with any other kinds of reactions, just leave a suggestion below and I'll try to get to them. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you for the next one.